Good evening and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast with me, your host, Freddie Hall, joined by Adam Martin for this evening's show as a final farewell to the 2024-25 season. Obviously, if you were following any of our socials over the last week, you know that we were at Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans with the Kansas City Chiefs losing 40-22 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Super Bowl is a good place to start. Then maybe we'll talk a bit about the Super Bowl experience, I suppose. So obviously, Adam, you stayed up in the UK to watch it. You weren't with us in New Orleans. What starts with 1?
11:30.
11:30. Okay. So what time did you get to bed then? Because it was quite a quick game, I thought.
About 4:00.
Oh,
just before 4.
Yeah.
As you can see, this is the problem with doing this. You see, over in this country, you end up knackered.
Well, you'll hate to hear, but actually, it started at 5:30 p.m. our time, and I think we went to a pub and we were there at midnight. Because then me and Andy left at 12:30 and we were in bed for 1. So at least, still a long day for us as well.
I don't want to hear your pathetic excuses of being tired if you started at 5:30. I mean, yeah, it was a late one. I must admit, I was a little like, am I going to stay up for all of it?
Okay.
I was like, because as anyone who has seen any of the betting shows that I've done with Andrew, couldn't really care less who won, and knows absolutely nothing about Kendrick Lamar or any of his songs. So it was a bit of a dead duck for me, I'm afraid.
Well, I very much and thoroughly enjoyed Kendrick Lamar. Definitely was one of my highlights. I can understand what you mean, though, when you go 24-0 up at half time with the Eagles leading 40-22 and doing it in the fashion that they were doing it in. I'm not going to sit here and say that we actually had a seat at the game, because we didn't. We were in the media workroom, so we were in the exact same setting that Adam was, watching it on the TV with the exact same commentary. So it's not like it was any different for us. I'm not going to be like, what was it like on the television? Because we had the same aspect, so it's fine. It was just remarkable by the Eagles. Just absolutely, they took the Kansas City Chiefs to town. They dragged them to hell and stuck them and laid them to waste there. They were perfect on every snap, on every play. Jalen Hurts had probably the game of his career. The only player you could critique mildly was probably Saquon Barkley, who didn't do all that much in the game, but didn't need to do all that much in the game. I mean, there was a few, if any of the people have watched any of our shows that came on over the Radio Row week, I said should and will quite a lot, which is, if you look at it, the Eagles should win this. Yeah. They've got the best team, they've got the best roster, they've got the best running back, they've got one of the best defenses, but the Kansas City Chiefs will win it because they have the will, they have the determination, they've been here, they've done it before, and they seem to be able to do it. I think it was the Cooper DeJean interception where I went, nah, this is done.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably not far off around that point, and to be honest, you could even argue a little bit earlier, where it really did feel like in that very first quarter that Mahomes was just struggling to get anywhere with anything. I think that was the real issue, and it's interesting actually. There's been a clip that's come out from the All 22 camera of being able, to see everything that's going on. And there was a certain play very early on where I think it was either their first or second drive, the Chiefs, and they've got Worthy out and they've sort of like pushed him out, and he's one-on-one with Quinion Mitchell. And like Mahomes is ready to throw it and chuck it like a good 50-60 yards. And for whatever reason, he just hasn't done it. And he's kind of like, and it was exactly
like he sees something and then he doesn't throw it. I remember saying, what was he seeing there? Because he's seeing something, he didn't try it.
And it kind of just felt a little bit like that's a very strange thing which you haven't seen before from Mahomes. And I think that's where I'm guessing that what it is basically that he must have known, and even, I know it's not played on paper and all that sort of thing. If you just look at the numbers, the sizes of these D-line guys that the Eagles have got going up against the Chiefs O-line, and the fact that you've had to sort of mess about with your O-line, trying, Joe Tooney's going out to guard and then back to tackle, and sort of like a bit all over the place, and you just can't help but feel that it puts doubt in the mind with all these different things, and that was kind of how it felt to me, that was what the problem was. But yeah, I mean, Worthy could have gone. He could have gone for it, and he would have if he had caught it, he possibly would have got a touchdown. But if not, it would have been a hell of a chunk play for him, and it just changes the momentum of everything. And I think that was a big problem for them. And then just generally, I just felt like he wasn't getting the ball out quick enough. It was almost like and the plays were not designed for him to be able to get the ball out quick enough. And that seemed odd to me, that they didn't adapt at all throughout the whole thing. So it felt like there was a bit of doubt and a bit of concern with the sheer size and power of the Eagles D-line coming at them.
It looked like he was just under constant duress like the whole day. And I mean, they had 4 sacks, I think, in the first 2 quarters. Might even been it can't have been the first quarter. I think that's a little bit ambitious even by the Eagles standard. But it just felt like he was under constant duress, like he wasn't going anywhere. And you look on the other side of it. I mean, I saw a stat somewhere that the Eagles O-line is the tallest and heaviest in Super Bowl history. I think that was something that popped up during the game. I mean, they were fantastic on offense. Jalen Hurts was wonderful. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, you saw that AJ Brown and Nick Sirianni have a massive spat, and then a play later he was scoring a touchdown, and they're all hugs and kisses. I mean, I sort of said in the week that what's more powerful in these situations? Is it the rah-rah of Nick Sirianni that we know he's like, where it was probably a lot of profanity and a lot of, get your hand in the dirt and make them feel the pain? Or is it Andy Reid's probably calm, been here, done this before, just do your job sort of thing? And I think on this occasion, actually, it was Nick Sirianni's rah-rah that probably brought out the best in the Eagles. And, sometimes I think it's about knowing your culture and knowing your players. And he's been able to do that. And the real MVP, everyone will say, is Harry Roseman, who has just built what a squad, what a roster of talent he's built in. And I mean, we said it on multiple podcasts this year. What a joke that Cooper DeJean got to the Eagles in the second round. Like, how did that happen? And it wasn't like he was underrated in the draft. I remember it was all going, he's going to be a first rounder. And Quinyon Mitchell went a lot later. I remember people having Quinyon Mitchell in the top 15 players to go, and he didn't. Drops all the way to the Eagles. They take Cooper DeJean as well. And then you look at the Georgia guys that they've drafted over the years: Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. I mean, they just got guys all over the field, and they've just not struggled. I mean, they're unbeaten since the bye week, or lost one game, I think, since the bye week, which was, I can't remember, it was week 4, week 5.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah,
and actually, one of the stats of the weekend, someone said, but after the bye week, if they'd taken the numbers from that defense from, I think it was week 7, actually, I could be wrong, not the bye week, that they were one of the top 10 defenses of all time. Of all time. Like, this team it started so slow out the blocks, 2-2, and it's just built and built and built and built and built. And I don't really think anyone took it overly seriously at times, because I think they sort of felt, well, they're going to slip up at some point. Injuries may happen. Saquon can't carry on this momentum. This team will stop him. They're so good against the run. But they pummel the Commanders, and then they pummel the Chiefs in the biggest stage of them all.
Yeah, I think they, to a certain degree, I think they did kind of slip under the radar a little bit in the NFC because of the Lions. I think that's probably what's happened. The Lions kind of took all of the hype and all of the media attention because of what they did last year. So it kind of felt like the Eagles, everyone knew that on paper it's all a really good team, but I feel like they didn't have, I wouldn't say they didn't have pressure on them, because I think everyone does once you reach the playoffs. But I just feel like maybe everyone was sort of looking at the Lions more, certainly from the NFC side. Also, I think just in general, everyone's looking at the AFC. These teams are in the AFC. You got the Bills, you got the Chiefs, you got the Ravens. That they're the ones that people are looking at. It's almost like the NFC matchups kind of are not given as much sort of hype in the media as what the AFC ones are at the moment. So I think that probably helped a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's just an incredibly well drafted and well traded for and bought squad is what Howie Roseman has done, and that's the reason that it's happened. I mean, it's funny because we were looking at so for the betting show we did a sack bet, so which is something that we don't normally do, but you looked at the sort of like the guys that are out there and you sort of think, yeah, no, they have got a chance, and it does feel like these D lines are stronger than both O lines, sort of thing. They do have the potential to do something here, and you kind of instinctively go Nolan Smith and who's
Josh Sweat.
No,
George
big guy, Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter.
They're all big guys. That doesn't help, does it? Jalen Carter, and you just so you instinctively think, right, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, they were the two favourites to get sacks from the Eagles side, and yeah, Josh Sweat has got 2.5, and Milton Williams has got 2, and Jordan Davis got 1, and it's like it just goes to show that the 2 that were the favourites didn't get any. That's how crazy it is, and that just goes to show how strong they are depth wise. And then you can argue the same for the O line, where it's like they just have that depth there that can do it. And I think it's something that the NFC that they've done really well, obviously, by winning the Super Bowl, but they could do this for a good few years. Like they're not going anywhere. They're a very young dynasty. Yeah, it really has the potential to do that. And I think the only way that doesn't happen is, firstly, I think the Lions defense is still not right and it needs to get better. So that's the team on the NFC that really you sort of feel like they're the ones that I think even if they had all their players, I know they had a lot injured, but even if they had all their players, they still need to get better on the defense because you can still score on them even when they had all their players there. But the only way that the Eagles struggle is probably whoever they go up against in the AFC side. And so it really does go to show this Eagles team is going to be around for a long time. They're very young and they've got a GM who just is more than happy to wheel and deal and make loads of trades and will get the right guys in that's going to make the difference for them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's people that said this could be the start of a dynasty. I mean, I said it after the game. I don't care what team you put up against the Eagles in that Super Bowl, AFC, NFC, at their healthiest, you wouldn't beat them. I've seen already people going, well, the Ravens and the Bills would have given them a better go. Yeah, maybe. They wouldn't beat them. No way. I cannot see any team in the NFL at the minute that playing them in the way they played in the Super Bowl specifically, though. I'm not going to say for the entirety of the season, but the way they played in that Super Bowl, no team would have beat them. They were too clinical, too precise, and too good. And like I said, it's a credit to them. They've been able to build this immaculate squad. I mean, Jalen Hurts, a quarterback that loads of people had doubted, a quarterback that I thought the Steelers should have drafted in the second round for Chase Claypool. Look how that all bloody worked out. Not that he would have been the same quarterback for the Steelers potentially, but now he's a top 5 quarterback. I'm sorry, people may not say that, but he's a top 5 quarterback now. He's got to be. We were talking about it. Mahomes is still in there, obviously. Josh Allen, Lamar, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. I think Justin Herbert now drops out. You look at it now, no playoff wins. Struggles a lot in the season. Okay, hasn't got the weapons around him, but that's not just Jalen Hurts' fault. And then you could argue maybe Goff, but Goff not got has gone to a Super Bowl, did lose it though. And then you look at Jane Daniels, rookie though. I've got to see it on a consistent basis. Like he is he's done it now. He's done it now twice in 3 years. And he's lost one and won one. And they've got to the playoffs every single time. They haven't won the division every single time, admittedly, but they've They've been in the mix every time, and it is it's not without its controversies either. Nick Sirianni, lot of spotlight under him. A quarterback, a coach that I said, a lot of people said, if he went 1-out in the playoffs, probably would have got fired. Maybe would have got fired. Like that's how close it felt like at one point with Nick Sirianni. Well, now he's just won the Super Bowl, so his job security is fine for now. But coordinator is going to change there. Kellen Moore accepting the job of the Saints. He's going to be their new head coach. All job openings in the NFL are now filled. Do you think they can? Do you think they can go back? I think losing coordinators is tough. I think the Lions are really going to do that this year.
Yeah,
they've lost about 9 of their staff.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I think when you saw with the Eagles, didn't you? They lost their OC and their DC, and the year after they didn't get back there, and they were a little bit off of it. And I think that obviously it depends who they bring in, but it does kind of feel a little bit like there's probably a chance that it will knock them a little bit and that they might struggle a bit, but if they can. It's going to be very much about, can they bring in the right person for it? I mean, you got to remember that Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore is only their first year there, so they came in brand new this season, and look what they've done.
You'd have thought there'd be a queue out the door though to run this.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that there wouldn't be, but it's more about whether they're just the right person for the organisation more than anything else. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you would think that there's going to be loads of people wanting that job. So that's the problem. Yes, I agree very much with the Lions. I think to lose both your OC and DC, and as you say, quite a lot of sort of like smaller coordinators as well, that's going to be very tough and a big change around the organisation. So that's going to be really difficult, especially when your head coach isn't the play caller. So that as well makes it even harder. So I think it will be very difficult for the Lions in that respect. But yeah, I think they've got a chance. The Eagles, they really do have the ability to do it, because this team is just so young and actually can improve. That's the other thing. It's like if you've got the likes of Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean there, they've both played on their rookie year. They can get better. Now they have got some guys who are free agents. Josh Sweat is a free agent. Zach Bourne, who's been great for them this season.
I think Milton Williams is as well.
Yeah, Milton Williams is also a free agent. So you have got some guys, especially on the defense there, that are free agents, and it's going to be a case of it's unlikely that I think it's unlikely Josh Sweat goes back, and I think it might be unlikely that Zach Bourne goes back, because the thing is like, this is your time to get a payday.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like, are you going to go back or not? Possibly not. So you've got to bring in guys who are going to replace them. So that's going to be tough for them. Obviously, they're going to be at the end of the draft. That's going to be tough for them.
Well, of course, the news that came out during the Super Bowl week of Myles Garrett putting in a trade request is something that pricked up a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans' ears.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And like we spoke about this me and Andrew did a draft show, and we spoke about it, and we was, he came out and said to me, like, which team or what teams do you think should be looking at Myles Garrett? And the answer is all 31 of them, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah.
But why not the Eagles? Like, why not? They have the ability to do it. They've got picks. They've got cap space to do it. And that would be mental. But it's like, they are in a position where they could do it in the same way the Chiefs are and the Bills are. All of these teams do have the ability to do this. So, and he's not going to say no, is he? To doing that. It's just about whether you can offer enough and whether you're willing to go in enough in order to do it. But yeah, why not? Why shouldn't the Eagles be in that conversation?
Wow. It's going to be a long off season to them. We get to the next season to find out all these things. Obviously, another trade request that went in over that week was Cooper Kupp, which I do not mind the Steelers eyeing up at all, which has obviously been rumoured as well. And also the rumour that Aaron Rodgers might come to the Steelers, which I absolutely hate for obvious reasons.
He is the favourite.
Oh, we can't do it. We can't do it.
I mean, I'd quite like the fact that after many years of me having the problem that you get him, so I wouldn't be against it.
There was someone else where people were saying that I think the Steelers were going to go after, and I was like, I really like that idea, but I can't remember who it was. Oh, Trevor Lawrence. It was the rumors today about Trevor Lawrence. Potentially Steelers looking to trade for him. I mean, I would take 10 Trevor Lawrences over Aaron Rodgers at this point, to be honest with you. And I know Trevor's not even been that great, but you put him up behind an O-line that's been way better than any O-line he's had at Jacksonville, a defense that's been way better than any defense he's had at Jacksonville, and you could have some magic there, I think. I think you could really do something with Trevor Lawrence in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I know we're moving away from the Super Bowl, but that's the natural curvature of these things. So, yeah.
No, I think it would be a very good move for him if he could get to the Steelers, because it's like you've got an organization who actually knows what they're doing, which I feel like the Jags half the time just are all over the joint. So
did I tell you that we saw Shad Khan's yacht?
No, you didn't.
Shad Khan's yacht was at.
Was that exciting?
It is the biggest yacht I've ever seen. It was gorgeous. I think it was called the Nexus. No, it wasn't the Nexus. It was something like that. My God, it was beautiful. Yeah, it was in the harbour the whole week as well. It was really, really. Yeah, we looked it up and oh God, it was worth an insane amount of millions of dollars. But yeah, that was just a side thought of that. Any questions you want to ask me about the Super Bowl in New Orleans?
Does that mean I have to start being nice about the Jags so we can try and get on Mr. Khan's yacht? Is that what we're going for? See, I went for Mr. You see, I was being polite and everything. How was it? Tell me how, what was the exciting part of the whole Super Bowl Radio Row experience?
I mean, it was incredibly unique. I mean, we should have a London media party. I don't get why we don't. That is one thing I think NFL UK needs to explore, is when the games are on, we have a media party for international relations of doing media, because the amount of people you meet, and
you just want to get drunk, don't you? I know what this is.
Good. I mean, people have probably noticed me rubbing my eyes and yawning under my breath a little bit, which I'm dealing with jet lag and a long week of activity. It was brilliantly unique. It was fantastic. It was very, very hard work, and anyone who is very, we are incredibly, incredibly lucky and fortunate to have been there at all. And we've met some wonderful people, made some wonderful friends. It's definitely been an eye-opener, a huge eye-opener in terms of what we want to do going forward within the pod, and on a personal aspect as well, I suppose. And it's just ridiculous. You're walking around, man, and you're seeing everyone, and we were talking a little bit about this off camera, is that because they wear helmets, you don't even know who some of these people are in a way. And even silly ones. I remember saw Jordan Love on a stage, and I was still looking at him going I think it's Jordan Love. It looks like him, but it must be him. Of course it was Jordan. Of course it was. But there was, there's players all there. Some more approachable than others, I have to admit. There was one player that I won't mention, but he does play for a team that one of the several podcasters we have on here supports. It was a bit awkward. But I got to meet Cam Hayward, who was amazing. And what was even weird was there was two guys with me, and we were sort of in a rush, but I really, really wanted just to say hello to him. And I was wearing my Steelers top, which is from Homage, which is Homage, I think actually it's called, but shout out to them, great guys. And the two lads who were talking to him worked for them. So they were talking to me about my T-shirt. And then when I eventually talked to him, I was like, look, we've got to go, but I just really want to say hello to you, big Steelers fan. And he was like, oh, I love your T-shirt. I was like, oh, it's so weird, because the two guys here, they actually work for the same company. They work for that company. And it was nice. And there was several people you met who genuinely wanted to have a conversation with you. And it was lovely. And, you caught some people out of surprise. We caught Adam Rank by surprise at the media party, and he ended up drinking with us all night long, which was fantastic. I mean, I met Tom Pelissero, who was really polite and lovely to me, and we had a little chat. And you sort of just meet people every now and then where, in different levels of media. I mean, Chris Brockman came and interviewed with us, who's on the Rich Eisen show. Wonderful fella, really, really nice guy. And yeah, I mean, it was real. And you walk around the city, and there's just stars around the city. You walk around the stadium beforehand, it's just really random stars everywhere. And we're not Sky's biggest thing the weekend was he got a photo with Seal,
the singer,
which was
Mr. I don't get any selfies ends up with a selfie with Seal.
He even got rinsed by Seal as well. He rinsed Seal took the heat out of him. Yeah. He
Who was the
said
other one? There was another one he had a selfie with as well.
no. Oh no, I had a selfie with Cristo Fernandez, who is Danny Rojas.
Oh, you were all with him, weren't you?
Yeah, that was from Ted Lasso. That was outside the stadium, and I think that was more just, I think we were a little bit excited to see him, and he was just like, yeah, we're definitely going to get a photo. And I was like, okay, cool. Obviously we met Big Justice and AJ Boom, from the guys who go boom all the time at the airport, the Costco guys. That was very random and very awkward. I do not really enjoy that sort of thing, but they were actually super lovely. They were really, really nice. The whole family was really lovely, actually. And yeah, it's just a surreal experience. And I'm not trying to say names to sort of be like, we were wrestling with the bigwigs sort of thing, but you are just, you see these guys on TV every week playing sports. You have them in fantasy football. You curse their names one week and love them the next, and they're walking around, and Jaden Daniels is just there, and you shake Jaden Daniels' hand, going, congratulations on Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he's like, yeah, cheers, man. Like, and you don't even. It's not like you set out to do it. He's just there at the moment, so you do it. You know what I mean? Weird fact: he had a really, really weird. He had a really, really loose handshake, and Sky Me was like, didn't like that handshake, and I was like, yeah, but dude, he's got to protect. These are the money makers, If he broke his hand shaking one of our hands, like, that's the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
That'd be the end of the podcast.
Well, yeah, definitely, for sure. But he's got to think about them hands for 15 years, mate. Like, he needs to worry. That's his money maker. So there's a funny. Firstly, Andy Davis, Gareth Smith, and Skyline Panic. Obviously, Andy Davis on the Across the Pod stayed with us, and then Gareth, our editor, Sky, obviously, as you all know. I stayed with them. It was wonderful. They're really, really great. They put in such hard work. All three of them thoroughly deserve to be there, and it's real kudos for them. Really, while we're on that subject, actually, thank you to yourself, Adam. You've been tremendous this year. Thank you to Andrew, to Alex, to James, to Johnny, who've been on pods throughout the year, been to events for us, been to the games. It's just been like a whirlwind year. We sort of thought we got offered the Super Bowl last year, so it wasn't overly a surprise that we got it this year, but it was more exciting because we actually were planning to go. So that's just been fantastic. Thank you to Claire Parnell, who sorts all that with in NFL UK. She's been absolutely wonderful with us and the NFL UK team in general. Thank you to all our guests we had on over the week, the friends we made, the laughs we shared. And yeah, let's roll it back for San Francisco, I think.
Who was the best interview?
Oh, that's really not nice, but I am going to do it anyway. The most fun I had was the Ramirez brothers. Shout out Compass on the Beat, Daniel and Danger Dan and Fernando. Dude, when he gets them sunglasses on and that cowboy hat, that guy's a different beast. That guy's a different beast. He is so fun. We also went drinking with them on Bourbon Street on Friday night. Weirdly enough, didn't go into a single bar on Bourbon Street. We just drank beer on the street because it was way funner. It's an open container policy in New Orleans. It's allowed. So you just walk around. It's nuts. Like, I have to say, New Orleans, like, it's going to sound really critical, but there's a space for it, and it is good fun. When you are on the party streets, you just think you're in like Ibiza or Magaluf. Like, it is a bit grim, and it is a bit. It's almost on steroids. Like, the music is way louder. It's a lot. It feels a lot dirtier. The people are sexier. It's more crowded. It's more sweaty. It's like very, very, very intense being on there, but a hell of a lot of fun. But the city in general, New Orleans, it's quite a small city. Like, so it's not very tall. It's not very skyscrapery. And it's quite, when you're in the middle, it is quite accessible to walk. We walked to Radio Row every day, and it was like a 45-minute walk, an hour walk, but it was like it was down Canal Street, which is just straight street, take a right, and you were there. So it didn't feel that long because you knew the benchmarks of when you go. And also on the way there, you go past the Hall of Fame theater was there, so like the NFL, where the honors were this year, and then you go past the Chiefs hotel, and then you go past the Eagles hotel. So you were sort of like seeing people and being in amongst the fans as well. A lot very friendly people. You don't get, it's not very common in our society, nor I think in American society in some cities, that people sit on their porches in the early hours or in the late evenings and they say good night or good morning and say hello. And it was really lovely. Wouldn't rush back. I have to admit, Chicago is still my favorite city in America. But I think in the article that I'm writing for Andy Davis, that he said to just talk about the city. What's my closing line? I'm gonna have to find it. You won't stay for
Because
a long time.
a lot of people say how like it's a nice place to go, as in like it's a like party town kind of thing.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean by like the IB for Magaluf thing.
Yeah,
It feels a bit like that in a way. Like my last line of my article is, you won't stay for a long time, but you'll always remember the good times. And I think that's what it was a long week to be in amongst it. And like, we went somewhere on the Saturday for food, and we were on a hangover, admittedly. And we walked past Burn Street. Me and Sky were just like, just get me off this street. Like it can be really too much if you're not into that. But I think we had a bar. It was like a beer garden bar that was right by our Airbnb called Bayou Beer Garden. Massive shout out to them guys. We drank there a fair few nights and ate there. Really, really great guys. Really great bar. Like, there's like them sort of places like that where you're like, yeah, this is amazing, and then you just sort of want to dip your toe into the massive party scene. So yeah, it caters to everyone. I mean, the food's brilliant, the music's fantastic, the art deco and the architecture is really one of a kind, I think, for America, let alone for the state, or I think, or the world. In fact, it's very, very individualistic and very cool, very bright. We were on the cusp of Mardi Gras, so maybe that mixed in with the Super Bowl gave it that extra edge of fun and frivolity. But I think, from the sounds of it, it's like that all the time anyway. Yeah, I mean, thank you, New Orleans, for having us. Like, it really was wonderful.
There you go.
Have I convinced you to go
to New Orleans? It's not. I mean,
and glow sticks and
yeah, it's not really my thing.
Yeah, I think I've got some beads up here for you. Maybe I can send them your way.
Thanks.
Well, again, Adam, thank you for joining me this evening. Again, thank you to all of the Franchise Tag contributors, the podcasters and the writers as well, who have all done a tremendous job this season. This is our farewell for the 24-25 season. That does not mean we're going away for the whole year. As you know, we are one of the rare podcasts that goes for quite a while throughout the season. We are returning very soon in the mid-March to talk about the draft and combine and all things free agency, as well as going into then the draft period and the draft itself. We'll then, after the draft, take a short break for the summer, with maybe some content bits coming out if we get invited to things, and then we usually start back, towards the start of August for about a month before the season starts. But lots of good things coming your way. Again, thank you for all your support on social media and for YouTube, the views, the likes, the comments, and subscriptions. It has been really, really great throughout the whole season. Thank you for joining us and supporting us. Until then, enjoy the off season, and we'll see you again in free agency.